Hey everyone, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Seaman, and boy do I have one of the videos of all time for you. Look at the title! It's hyperbole time. Oh, and I know what you're saying, honey. This is just another ploy to overhype and underdeliver on the premise of the video. Say something crazy, get them to click, and then cash in on filler for the rest of the video. Well boy, is this not one of those videos. No, in fact, I want to discuss how Solo Leveling may be delivering on a promise that Crunchyroll failed to deliver upon a long time ago, which is good, solid, zero compromise Webtoon adaptations. One of my biggest complaints from the original Crunchyroll cross Webtoon run was that I felt that all of those series had some sort of caveat that hampered them in a way that they wouldn't be able to connect to a bigger audience. For example, Tower of God was by far the most solid of the three, but was a rushed adaptation, cutting out key plot points and making the pacing sort of wishy-washy. Some episodes either had great pacing or cut out small but important contextual events or lines that would go on to make the story seem confusing, or in the worst case, gave it plot holes. Or you got episodes that had good writing, but the pacing was all over the place and smashed into so much of one episode, said Rack, most likely, probably. And that was reflected with the 7.6 rating on Mal, which, yes, I know user ratings aren't really accurate and are used to cherry pick and prove stupid points. However, I am using them as a simple base for general audience enthusiasm in this case. I have no dog in this fight, but I will say that Rachel is best girl, and if you hate her, you simply are someone who doesn't understand class, or has never been to any sort of class in general. Trust me, I know best girl when I see one. Yes, 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 for I love Himeno.
I feel kind of funny. Like, haha, funny.
But besides Tower of God, you also had, well, the God of High School, which, well, just wasn't good now, was it? I mean, I can only speak for myself, but even though this was an anime by Mappa, which is weird to say now, it just wasn't my kind of story. Well, it didn't even have a story. Once again, the ratings on Mal reflect the general enthusiasm of the series beyond just my violently psychotic takes. Now, there was also a third anime. Now, what was that one about again? Well, I mean, I guess we'll never know, so let's just forget about that one. And thus, for like half a decade, at least that's what it felt like, it seemed Webtoon and anime would never see the light of day again. But hope was finally restored. Everyone was dancing in the street. People actually weren't complaining about the same tired talking points this time. They were actually looking forward to, and in some instances, watching anime. Tower of God getting a season 2? Solo Leveling is getting an adaptation, and we don't know what studio it's from, but what we do know is that your mother, and that it's getting adapted, and so everyone started just like, I don't know, but they were doing it, and you know what I mean by it. So fast forward to January 2024, we're here, we're alive, the world just like always didn't blow up, and the world, just like always, is still really fucking strange. But we got that dank ass Solo Leveling, and I'm here to give you my first impressions on this strange little child of a series and answer the stupid pointless question that I proposed. Is Solo Leveling a new era? All caps. Or is it just another Tower of God, or God forbid, the Tower of the God of the High School? Strap in, gentlemen. Whoa, 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 big announcement. I am now officially partnered with Gamersubs. We picked the perfect time to team up, as my link usually only offers 10% off, but for the next 7 days, you'll get 22% off using my link. That's right, and let me tell you, there is no better time to be supped up on some Gamersubs. Helps you focus with its nootropics, which I've noticed has helped me better focus on my MLG ESO grinding, script writing, eating, and of course, Sablina worshiping. So far, I really love the blue flavor. That's my recommendation. Or you can be super generic and pick up Shy Lily's Blowhole Blast, which my Discord server has started calling her my sugar mama because, well, technically she pays and helps fund the channel. I'm definitely not salty. Okay, maybe a little bit. Whatever your choice, I may never escape these allegations. Use my link below where you'll get 22% off for the next 7 days, which will help me survive and feed my apparent sugar mama. Alright, so jumping right into this pit of suffering, I actually read a lot of solo leveling in the days of yonder, when my Chainsaw Man channel, Bento, was actually a Webtoon channel, which, you know, that was a thing. I never got to cover this series, though I did get to cover Omniscient Reader, which is fairly similar to solo leveling, but hey, that has no relevance to this video. So jumping back into solo leveling, like 3 years after I initially read it, I was quite surprised to see that it was, well, mostly the same as I remember it. Besides one little thing, and you thought I wouldn't notice, did you? Checks notes. A1 Pictures. I saw you added some content from the other adaptations of solo leveling to introduce Hyein Cha. I cannot pronounce these names as per usual. Now, if you ever watched this video where I lambasted Crunchyroll and Webtoon for their lukewarm adaptations, one of my main points of criticism was that they were cutting content. Well, already they're actually adding content, and that was just the first episode. However, while the issue of forced pacing seems to not be an issue here, the first episode of solo leveling was seriously just, well, it was pretty fine, wasn't it? It didn't really get across the premise of the show all too well, and it watched like a very safe, boring, and generic action series. However, and oh boy, however indeed, as I'm sure you've already seen every content creator do now, episode 2 was the episode that broke solo leveling fans. That's right, if you've been living under a rock, solo leveling episode 2, and 3 and 4 for that matter, were apparently amazing, and they're right. Well, I mean, they're not right about the breaking the fans part, but these were a big improvement over the first episode. We finally got to see how everything gets set in place and really started to develop the world and the characters of the series. But the moment everyone was talking about by far was when they had to prove their faith to God. In this dungeon, Jinwoo, our main character, realizes that to solve the dungeon and survive the statues, they need to do 3 things: revere God, praise God, and finally, prove their faith to God. What follows is pretty much the culling of the random NPC cast from Oblivion in horrifying and gruesome fashion.
Oh my goodness. Excuse me, are you all right?
And as a, well, reader of this series, I'm not sure if it was as gruesome as what they did with the anime here. Seriously, maybe it's just the fact that the series has less impact when reading or whatever, or maybe I'm just dumber than a sack of socks, but this was some next level craziness. At one point, a statue steps on the head of a girl and, it was next level gross. The way the stone foot has some resistance as it drops its foot and finally her body gives way from the pressure. So basically, while everyone is being viciously murdered, Jinwoo and Son Chi-yul are frantically trying to decipher their way out of the dungeon, which in a way gave me some Indiana Jones vibes in just that little moment, you know, where they're trying to decipher things and read these ancient texts. While that's happening, something is making the characters rush even more. Through that, there is this exhilarating rush that you get as the reader that just makes you go, fucking get out of there, go, go, go! Go, go, go! I really like this part on my rewatch of the series especially. They eventually are able to get the doors open to escape though, but Ju-hee, who's maybe the love interest for Jinwoo or maybe not, or you know, who knows, maybe they're both the love interest and not at the same time. I don't know how that works, but her legs give out. So basically Jinwoo does the heroic thing and tells the people who are left alive to get out of there and sacrifice himself. Honestly, if this is the last we ever saw of Jinwoo, I think this is a pretty satisfying conclusion to him as a character. That's why what comes next is really interesting, because as he dies, he sees a prompt that asks him if he accepts the offer, he will become a quote, player. Solo Leveling Episode 2 was a massive improvement over the sort of just their-ness, take it or leave it, feeling that episode 1 had. But generally speaking, I liked the brutal murder fest of, that's a weird thing to say, of all of Jinwoo's party and himself, despite me also feeling it being sort of generic and derivative all at the same time. However, there is nothing wrong with generic or derivative if you do it well, and I think for many, especially non-Webtoon readers, they won't even notice how derivative solo leveling is. However, I'm digressing like a fish out of water digresses. But episode 3 is where things begin to slow down a bit more, and we get to take in more of the mechanics of solo leveling, which are extremely important to this show in the world, of course. After waking up in a hospital, Jinwoo immediately has to do a double take and isn't quite sure he is really alive. Turns out that Jinwoo has experienced a very rare phenomenon known as second awakening, which basically, in short, means that said person will undergo a massive increase in ability. To explain this, basically, every person in solo leveling is assigned a rank at birth. Think like FEDCBAS. You get the idea. But these ranks are rigid, meaning that they're static and nothing you can ever do will make those ranks go up or down. Unless you experience a second awakening, which should make your rank go up. However, Jinwoo, after an exam, is basically told, oh, it didn't go so well. The second awakening didn't raise his rank, nor did it technically lower it. It removed his rank. This is a pretty interesting setup until you realize, this is where the leveling part of the title comes into play. Each day, Jinwoo is given a set of tasks he must do, and if he does them, he is rewarded. If he doesn't, he is punished, and then still rewarded if he completes it. So ignoring the first pop-up, he is punished and basically forced to run from Slifer the Sky Dragon, which is objectively the best god card in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you somehow disagree with me, then I not only don't care about your opinion, you are now a criminal. After completing the task, his stats go up and he is rewarded. You basically get the point of the entirety of solo leveling by, this point in the episode. The entire show is just about ranking up and getting stronger, which is why I call this show pretty derivative, because this is the basic core concept of every single generic freaking isekai we've seen in the last goddamn 10 years. However, what makes solo leveling interesting is the fact it sort of visualizes that core concept to the viewer. This isn't anything new in of itself too, but does so in a way that makes it just really fun to see, while also providing really awesome action, good animation, and of course voice acting, but also the music from Hiroyuki Sawano, so orgasmic. Solo leveling really isn't going to be a series that you probably go into expecting god tier story writing. It doesn't really exist in this series, and trust me, as a former reader of the Webtoon, this is definitely true. But that's not why you're here to watch solo leveling. You're here because it's a lot of really basic core concepts wrapped up in a neat bow together to create a solid and really pleasing series. Solo leveling is basically the equivalent of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of show, and to me, that's what makes this show special and is exactly the role it needs to fill, because this is exactly what we desperately needed for Webtoon adaptations. Tower of God, which was not given a fair shake, I know, and God of High School were very strange choices for one reason or another to adapt first. If anything, it should have at least been solo leveling first, and really done in this way. Because so far, A1 Pictures is giving solo leveling a good adaptation that people actually want to get behind and see. They're not rushing it and cutting stuff out or just trying to capitalize on the name of something because, Crunchyroll can. They are a monopoly and they don't have to try anymore, as evident by their horrible award show. Did you guys see that?
You can't keep getting away with it!
But A1 and hopefully Tower of God Season 2 are bringing in a new era of Webtoon anime, and yes, now it's time to deliver on the title of the video. I believe that solo leveling is the start of a new golden age of, quote golden age of Webtoon anime adaptations from Japanese studios, where they're actually good and interesting stories that will be adapted faithfully, really well, and respectfully. Imagine series like, Down to Earth being adapted, or Unordinary, or hey, even a series like Unholy Blood, or Oh, I just realized they could adapt Bastard or Sweet Home. That would be an absolute dream come true for me. Imagine Ufotable, and yes, I realize this will never happen, but let me headcanon. But imagine them adapting Sweet Home. They would give the Saber reference in that series the justice it absolutely deserves. Now, do I think solo leveling is the greatest thing ever? No, but the potential it has to be the start of something even more amazing and even more special is, to me, the most important takeaway of this adaptation. It's a lot of symbolism around it. Also, it seems people really love solo leveling, and I think it's a neat little romp to turn on, but at the same time, it's not that special beyond its core premise. However, I'm a dumbass, and I am oh so sure you'll tell me in the comments that I'm wrong about something I've said in this video, so if you disagree, let me know. Most importantly though, share your thoughts on solo leveling down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the series, and as well, if you think solo leveling is the start of a new era for Webtoon anime, well, that's what I really want to hear from you about. Am I spoken the funny one-y, or am I being super based and base-pilled with that take? Also, don't forget, use my link to get 22% off your order of gamer subs. I love mine, and I think you will as well. If you love Chainsaw Man, do check out my Chainsaw Man channel, and as well, don't forget to subscribe to my weekly anime podcast, where we discuss industry news, weekly seasonal anime, and take questions from the viewers. Also, become a patron, where you'll get access to tons of awesome One Piece content. Thanks for watching. Love ya. Bye-bye.
So how's your day, Bill?
Good, I beat drinking car.
Been driving?
Drunk driving. No, not today.
Do you think that Bill, the first thing he do when he come in here and somebody asks him how his day was immediately own up to drunk driving? How's your day, Bill? Oh, I just drank drive and ran over 5 people.